Jai Hind. Today we'll throw some light on the ongoing military conflict between Russia and the Ukraine. The whole world looking towards these two countries to end the conflict and solve the issues amicably to save the mankind from the ill effects of the war and to prevent the eruption of Third World War. Russia and Ukraine, earlier part of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, that is USSR, or you can say Soviet Union. In early 90s, when the then President, Mr. Mikhail Gorbachev, took an initiative to bring a sort of democracy in Soviet Union, but unexpectedly, it turned out to be the disintegration of the Soviet Union into 15 different republics with their independent governments. In December 1991, the largest and the founding republics of USSR, that is Russia, Belarus and Ukraine, they signed an agreement and declared that all the 15 independent republics will have their own government and there will be no further single entity as USSR. Russia, Belarus and the Ukraine, they are situated adjacently, and whereas Belarus, he maintained a close ties with Russia, but Ukraine increasingly turned towards the west. In 2013, Ukraine signed an association agreement with European Union to further strengthen its ties with the west. But meanwhile, Russia exerted a massive pressure on Ukraine economically and a sort of military pressure, and then President Mr. Viktor Yanukovych, he put the agreement on the ice, and but the same led to a massive protest in Ukraine, or a sort of, you can say, revolution started. This revolution is called the Revolution of Dignity. Following the protests, President Viktor Yanukovych fled to Russia and he is staying there in exile. Russia took advantage of the power vacuum and invaded Crimean Peninsula, which is situated in the Black Sea on the northern coast of it and touching the city of Sevastopol, which is housing the largest port, marine port, and the Russian naval fleet is also integrated to this port. Strategically, it is an important part for Russia. Then the Donbass. Donbass, you can spell it out as Donbass, is a historical, cultural and economic region in southeastern Ukraine. It is basically industrial hub, which is also a pro-Russian part of Ukraine. Now, all these events sequence was going on in the same way when in 2020 Ukraine joined NATO's Enhanced Opportunity Partner Program, and in September President Volodymyr Zelensky, the present president of Ukraine, approved Ukraine's new national security strategy, which provides for the development of distinctive partnership with NATO with an aim of seeking the membership of NATO. Now, these developments were not in the interest of Russia. Russia has long resisted Ukraine's move towards European Union and West defensive military alliance, NATO. With he accuses of threatening Russia's historic future as a nation. Now, one can make out that Ukraine's inclination towards European Union and the Western, that is joining NATO, is the main reason which has led to present day conflict, as Russia thinks, or you can say in the long run, it has its strategy that if the Western powers will take over the ports of Ukraine, they will send their military there as soon as their armaments. That will be a future threat to the Russia. On February 24, 2022, leading all these events in sequence, Russia launched a special military operation in Ukraine, and today the conflict has entered its 11th day, with Russia gaining control over the Europe's largest nuclear plant, that is Zaporizhzhia, and two other nuclear plants are already have been taken control by the Russian troops. The president of Ukraine, Mr. Volodymyr Zelensky, who is again looking towards the best for help, which is not seen to be forthcoming, as no country or no alliance would like that war to erupt in the rest of the Europe and to the world. They want to confine the war in the Ukraine region itself. Russia has the idea that, or they have their own concepts that present government in Ukraine is an activist government. They are not the actual government, because most of, as per Russia's perception, that you can say there are some reality existing on the ground too, that pro-Russian people, they have been mistreated and to some extent crushed by the present regime in Ukraine. Or you can say Russia wants that there should be no inclination, or there should be no further ties of Ukraine with the West or with the NATO or with the European Union. They should be, this country should be pro-Russia as Belarus, so that the future threats can be averted or can be avoided. But this is again not maturing, it's not again coming up in the right perspective, and Ukraine troops are fighting against Russian troops with full force. But a large part of Ukraine has already been under control of Russian troops, including its nuclear warheads, and further moving towards Kyiv. Kyiv is the capital of Ukraine, and the control of Russia is inevitable in the present days over the whole Ukraine. This is what we can make out of the present situation, seeing the present situation of the war in Ukraine. Let's see how Ukraine defends itself, as help from the West is not very forthcoming, but somehow they are putting economic sanctions on Russia, and many of the Western countries have already done, and the rubber prices are going down. Now, how it is affecting our country? Our students, those studying over there, they are to be evacuated back to the safer places, and many of them have been evacuated back to the country. And our business establishments in Ukraine, they are also suffering, and the effect of this war is economically we are also somewhere affected out of this war. The loss of life has to be avoided at any cost as far as Indians are concerned, and very proactively Indian staying in Ukraine have been evacuated back with the timely action of the government. And let's hope that in the coming days, both these two countries will come on the negotiation table and resolve this issue amicably, and this war will come to an end. Thank you. Jai Hind.